Hello, I'm Ron Van Vleck, Territory Manager for Wagner Products at Allied Systems Company in Sherwood, Oregon. If you're considering buying another log handling machine, it's important to do some research so you can make an informed decision. Today we're going to look at some of the key factors you should consider when making your decision. So what does purpose-built mean? Essentially, it means a machine that is designed solely for the intent of performing a specific function.
Unlike big wheel loaders that are repurposed construction machines, a purpose-built machine is designed to handle the full capacity at all reaches, heights, and turning angles. Its structure is designed to distribute those loads evenly through the boom, chassis, and drivetrain so as not to overload components. A wheel loader often has additional counterweight added when used in mill yard applications, which the machines are not designed for, leading to premature component failure. And since purpose-built machines last longer, you can keep the machine in service longer, dramatically reducing your total cost of ownership.
When discussing capacity, there are two ratings to consider: operating capacity and tipping capacity. Operating capacity is the maximum weight the machine is rated to lift. This is how most manufacturers rate their machines. Tipping capacity is the rated weight at which the rear wheels will come off the ground.
Understanding capacity is critical to your decision because not all machines maintain their operating and tipping capacities throughout the entire lift and operating cycle. For instance, the operating capacity of center articulated loaders is significantly reduced in a turn because the rear of the machine, along with the counterweight, shifts the center of gravity. For example, a center articulated big wheel loader with a rated operating capacity of approximately 78,000 pounds would derate to around 68,000 pounds in a turn. This same center of gravity shift also puts over 80% of the machine's gross vehicle weight onto the inside front tire in a turn. We'll look at the impact of that when we discuss machine durability. Center articulated big wheel loaders and heavy lift mass machines also experience a large reduction in operating capacity because they have to tilt their carriages forward to release the logs. For instance, a heavy lift mass machine with a 90,000 pound operating capacity will experience over a 50% reduction in its operating capacity at its farthest reach. A similar derate is also inherent to all big wheel loaders. Machines with designated kickoff arms are more efficient because they do not need to tilt their carriage forward to unload logs, so they can deck higher while maintaining their full capacity.
So what are some of the consequences of purchasing a machine with derating operating capacity?
Well, if you're handling typical 30-ton loads or greater with a machine that has a similar or just slightly higher operating capacity, then you will be operating at or over the machine's maximum capacity, especially when the machine derates in a turn or tilts the log carriage. It also means you might need to make multiple passes to unload a truck with larger loads, taking more time and risking damage to the load. But the most important factor to consider is the impact to machine durability.
So now let's talk about durability and how that relates to the overall cost of ownership. Operating a machine at or over its maximum rated operating capacity will lead to accelerated failure of the machine and components, which increases your maintenance costs.
Earlier, we talked about how center articulated machines shift over 80% of their gross vehicle weight onto the inside front tire in a turn. One result of this is reduced tire life. Field data has shown that center articulated machines need to replace tires at approximately 2,000 hours due to premature sidewall damage. For comparison, the average lifespan of tires on a purpose-built Wagner log stacker is 5,000 to 6,000 hours. The swivel hinge on center articulated machines are also highly susceptible to premature wear. The constant shifting of the counterweight and center of gravity causes premature wear to the swivel hinge, which requires routine and expensive maintenance over the lifetime of the machine. In comparison, log stackers with tricycle design steering maintain their full operating capacity at all times because there is no shift in the center of gravity, plus there is no swivel hinge to repair. And rear articulated four-wheel drive models have only a minimal center of gravity shift, so there is no derate in operating capacity. Once again, these kinds of maintenance costs need to be considered when looking at total cost of ownership.
Of course, proper maintenance of your log handling machine is important to keep it running to factory specifications. But consider ease of maintenance too. Some machines may have common service items buried inside the machine, taking more time to access and replace. Having common service items and inspection points in easily accessible service bays makes your routine maintenance quick and easy, and therefore less costly. At today's cost of fuel, it's more important than ever to talk about fuel efficiency. A lot depends on your utilization, but another factor is engine size.
Big wheel loaders are full-time four-wheel drive and use either 18 or 19-liter engines. Selecting a purpose-built machine with a smaller 15-liter engine could reduce your fuel consumption by about 30%. This can save you hundreds of thousands of dollars over the life of the machine. Another thing to consider is if you need a four-wheel drive machine, but for just part of the year, say only during the rainy months, you should look for machines that have a rear axle disconnect for when yard conditions improve, like during the summer months. This not only extends the life of the rear axle, but reduces fuel consumption.
Everyone knows that the operator is the most important part of any piece of heavy lift equipment. Keeping your operator safe and comfortable is the key to productivity.
Your operator will be more comfortable in a larger cab with heavy-duty air-ride seat and suspension, modern amenities, and electronic controls. However, you should consider the location of the cab in relationship to the rest of the machine and the load. Keeping the operator environment up higher and further back from the load is much safer and significantly improves visibility.
Visibility is critical for the safety of the operator and for ground personnel. And the better the visibility, the lower the risk of damage to the machine or the load. It also improves productivity by allowing the operator to move faster with greater confidence.
When comparing visibility between a purpose-built log stacker, a big wheel loader, and a heavy lift mast machine, it is easy to see the advantage of placing the operator's cab up higher and further back from the load. With an operator in the cab of each machine and a spotter on the ground, measurements were taken to calculate the blind spots. Results showed that the blind spot on a big wheel loader is 4.5 times larger than the purpose-built log stacker and 9.5 times larger on a heavy lift mast machine. The implication these results have on safety must be seriously considered.
Now we've talked about some of the key factors you need to consider when purchasing a new log handling machine. But how do all these factors affect the price? And not just the upfront purchase price, but the cost of the machine over time, or total cost of ownership.
As we've discussed, purpose-built machines maintain their full rated capacity at all times with no derating, and will last longer because they are specifically designed for the job with components sized correctly for the application. And field data indicates the average lifespan of a big wheel loader is only 5 to 7 years, with most machines requiring a costly midlife rebuild after only a few years of operation. This means you could end up purchasing 2 or 3 big wheel loaders over the life cycle of just one purpose-built log stacker. A machine that is easy to service and maintain will also save you considerable expense and frustration over the lifetime of the machine. And selecting a log stacker that will consume fewer tires and less fuel will provide additional savings.
We know these are just some of the factors you need to consider when deciding on your next log handling machine. We hope this video has provided some helpful tips on what to look for and how making an informed decision will save you considerable money over the lifespan of the machine. If you would like some help making your decision, or to learn more about how to reduce the total cost of ownership of your next log handling machine, please contact me directly at the phone number or email address on your screen. Thank you.